In this video, I wanted to focus on Pascal Siakam, more specifically how he fares with the ball in his hand as a creator, where he's strong in that area. I have 5 plays which show that, and then I have a couple plays which show where he has still room for improvement when he has the live dribble, when he's the creator on the court. And then I have 3 plays which kind of show how when he's in the post-up situation, he doesn't necessarily put a lot of pressure on the defense. More specifically, you'll notice that as you go from the first 7 plays to the last 3 plays, in the first 7 plays, he generally attracts a second defender. He puts some pressure on the defense, but in post-up situations, the defense is pretty content to let him play along in an isolation situation. Before I get to all that, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel if you find this content useful. Enjoy. This is a good play to illustrate how the rest of the Raptors move without the ball to allow Siakam to run the point and allow him to rack up those assists that he gets when he's handling the ball. So a couple of things to keep an eye on this one. First, you have obviously Aaron Baines, who is setting a screen for Siakam right here. And what's going to happen is that Siakam is going to kind of roll this way. And what's important also is Yuta Watanabe is going to go this way and clear out his man, which will create space for Siakam to drive. And as I roll this, you'll see that Yuta clears. And at this point, Siakam has entered the paint, like he's near the nail area, if you will. And Bembry's man has left him to deal with Siakam, and that's this guy right here. So 3 things happened here. First, the screen that Baines set. Second, the clear out by Watanabe, who is over here now and takes his man with him. And finally, it's Bembry's man who kind of leaves him and enters here, which allows Siakam to find the pass right here. And even though Bembry will miss the shot as I roll it, this is a pretty decent look born out of Siakam's ability to handle the ball and drive. I'm picking this play because in the previous one we saw Siakam use the Baines screen and drive. In this case, as you'll see when he catches the ball in the face-up situation right here, it's going to be Bembry who's going to be wanting to set a screen for Siakam. So that's the guy who's about to get screened, and that's Bembry. But in this case, what Siakam does is he does not use the screen. Instead, he will just go to his left, and then you'll see the exact same thing happen as the previous play, where it's going to be this guy who's going to be forced to deal with Siakam, and he will leave Davis open for the 3. So a minor variant of the previous play where he does not necessarily use the screen and goes the other way. And let me just roll it right here. And you'll see Davis get a pretty clean look based on a Siakam drive. So on the previous 2 plays, we saw him go left to find the shooter. In this case, I'm showing this one because he will now drive down the middle to find the shooter. And let me roll it right here. He's going to use the Boucher screen right there. So that's Boucher right there. And Siakam, what he'll do is he will go straight down the middle right here. And as you go down the middle, you have some options. Depending on which of these 2 defenders collapses on him, he has options, right? The Raptors have spread the court. There are 2 shooters in the corner. You got Powell on this side and you have Bembry on the other. So as Siakam drives, this is where decision making as a ball handler comes into play, because one of those 2 guys will collapse because Boucher has set a pretty good screen here. And let's see what happens as we roll this one. So there he is, he drives, so Len drops down, and as you can see, at this point, this guy has kind of left Norm wide open. And this guy has, I think it's Bertans, he's come down as well, but the pass back out here is a pretty difficult one. Like the pass from Siakam to this guy has to go through him, whereas here, the pass back to Norm is easier just because Siakam's already looking that way and he doesn't need to kind of reset his position. So let me roll this here and you'll see what happens. Clean look from Norm based on a Siakam drive. This is another one of him attracting a double by driving and then kicking out. But this one, he kicks it out to the weak side. So he will use the Baines screen right here. And the guy he will pass it to is right there. It's Stanley Johnson in the corner. The drive will be quite simple. He's just going to use the screen, or kind of not use the screen, go the other way on the screen, get into this area. JV right here will collapse and help. And that's going to be enough for Siakam to turn and fire the pass. Let's play it right here. There you go. Doesn't use the screen. right there. Oh, picks up the dribble. Now this is an area where he's got to work on a little bit. He can't be picking up the dribble this early in the clock because now he's sort of stuck. And if this was against a better defensive team, he'd be kind of trapped right now. But luckily it's just Memphis, and they're not really doing a great job of trapping him. JV at this point doesn't really need to leave his man at this point. But again, you're not playing a great defensive team, and Siakam sort of has enough time to kind of go ahead and find his guy. Look at him, like he's scanning. Nice pass out there to Stanley Johnson. Nice three there. But you know, the point that I'm trying to make here on this one is that this may not work against a better defensive team who would punish Siakam for picking up that dribble a little too early. On this play I'm showing, he's not going to get the assist, but he causes enough shifts in the defense where it eventually results in a score because of his initial drive. So let me roll it right here, and he's going to get the dribble handoff there, and Chris Boucher is going to set a screen for him right there, as you can see. What Siakam's going to do is he will again use the screen this time, get all the way here, and basically draw these two defenders just closer to him enough that will leave Boucher open right around here. So as I roll this, just keep an eye on that one. So brings the two defenders a little here. Oh, Boucher's open. And at this point, it's worth noting that Terrence Davis is setting a bit of a back screen there. Doesn't do too much, but just gives Fred over here enough space to eventually catch the ball once it's swung around. But all this is caused by Siakam initially driving the ball. And as we roll it, let's see, there it is. Oh, the closeout there is notable. Not a great closeout there by the defender. Gives Fred a passing lane, a driving lane into here, which he will use pretty effectively, and just finish with a nice little floater there. Don't see that often, but it's important because this play is caused by Siakam's initial drive, and sometimes you don't necessarily see that when the game is going pretty fast. Now, there are situations where even when he has the ball, we end up taking a poor shot on the possession. And that usually happens when the initial screen doesn't give him enough space to do anything. It doesn't give him any options to drive left or right. Here, he's facing Embiid in a one-on-one situation, and Norm right here will be setting a screen for him. So notice how ineffective the screen is and how it results in just a one-on-one situation again being formed. You also have the additional factor of Philly sort of being in a zone maybe, or providing some help for Siakam there. But the end result is Siakam will have the ball with no space and a defender still on him. And here, let me just show that. See that? The screen really didn't do anything. He still has Embiid on him. There isn't really anybody open. He doesn't necessarily have the quickness to drive against Embiid one-on-one and attract another defender. So what he does is he ends up taking a pull-up jumper, which is a shot that I really feel he needs to nail, kind of like Chris Bosh used to, for him to get to the next level. This play shows kind of what his next step is as a ball handler as he evolves his game and becomes a true point forward. And it's when the initial screen isn't as effective as he would have hoped. So here, Boucher is going to be screening off his man, but what's going to happen is that his guy will actually go over the screen and end up trailing Siakam as he drives into the rim. So you'll see a guy right on his back as he goes. This defender will drop off over here, and there will be an opportunity for Siakam to make a decent pass here, but this part of his game isn't there yet. I think it's still a little bit evolving. So let me just run this play and see what happens. See, at this point, the defender right there is trailing Siakam. You have a guy in front of him. Nobody else sort of has left their man. Bembry is still covered by this guy, so this guy did not drop down to help. You may have an option there on the corner to pass to, but that pass seems to be quite difficult. And the pass that will be available, which Siakam has to learn how to make, is actually Boucher running down the middle right here. Sorry, that's the wrong arrow there, like that. Like, that's the pass that Siakam has to learn how to make, and that's a pass that guys like Fred and Lowry make all the time. They find that cutter driving down the lane. But as you roll this, like at this point, Siakam's made up his decision to shoot, and it's a contested shot because the defense is like right there. This is where he has to sort of dump it down to Boucher right here for like an easy layup, and this is the part of his game that he's got to work on next. That's all. I'm showing this play to illustrate how teams don't necessarily send double teams when Siakam is in the block. And you'll notice that what the Raptors are here trying to do is they want to post up Siakam against Giannis in the block right there. And as I roll this, you'll see that a little pick and roll action at the top. And as soon as Siakam catches the ball, the Raptors will clear out. Boucher will go over here, and Lowry will clear as well, just to give Siakam some room to operate and prevent their men from helping out on Siakam. Basically making sending help a little difficult. But let's see what happens, because the Bucks feel no need to send a help with Giannis guarding him. So one-on-one move, no help. Takes a bit of a tough shot there, and the Raptors eventually lose the ball. So even when the Raptors isolate Siakam on the block and they try to have some movement around him, in the previous play we saw how they just gave the ball to Siakam against Giannis and didn't really move at all. Here they're going to do a little bit more than that, and Siakam will catch the ball in the block right here, and a couple things will happen. First, Boucher will try to flash right down the middle and try to present an option to Siakam. And Siakam's, and let me roll that and show you what happens here, because this is kind of interesting. So right here, Boucher cuts. Oh, there's a moment of opportunity right here for Siakam to make that pass for an easy two, right? But, he's not there as a post passer yet. A great post passer makes that play and it's 2 easy points. Siakam is still learning. So this little screen set here kind of goes to waste, because this was designed to just free up Boucher for like a moment. Opportunity missed. So as you roll this, let's see what else happens. That opportunity is gone. Now Fred's going to try to come around this angle, using the Lowry screen. Maybe that results in something. But as I roll this, you'll see that just doesn't really do much. And Siakam is sort of more or less in an isolation situation right here, face up. At this point, the Raptors' offense is stagnant, and now we are just watching Siakam go one-on-one. And, it's a decent move. He doesn't finish, but that's not a bad shot. What I do want to highlight, though, is that the defense doesn't necessarily need to send help when Siakam is in the block, and they are more likely to send help when he has the ball with the live dribble and he's trying to attack. Here's another example of the Raptors just isolating Siakam with very little ball movement. Maybe they're hoping some help will come, but it never really does. And this is the area of the court you got to watch. He's on the block there, and as you roll it, there he is catching it. No help really, right? One-on-one defense, little ball movement, misses the layup, easy rebound.